Jeff, my first question is that I was shocked to know that you didn't study Spanish, but you acquired it through working in the restaurant. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's correct. Very few people acquire languages. Excuse me. Duh, we all acquire languages. Very few of us remember acquiring a language. And for me, I was fortunate in that I worked in a restaurant in Southern California at the age of 17. Now, Southern California, we have a lot of immigrants from Mexico, El Salvador, and Guatemala because we're so close. We're only 90 minutes from Mexico. So we have many Mexican immigrants, many Salvadorian, Guatemalan, Honduran immigrants. So when I was 17, I worked in a restaurant. I was just a busboy. All I was a busboy, and I prepped food and I cut food, and I was a cook. And I became best friends with these Mexicans, Salvadorians, Guatemalan, and Hondurans. And it was just the greatest experience of my life because they taught me Spanish. So I learned a little bit of Spanish in school, but most of the Spanish I acquired was at work, was speaking with my new Mexican and Salvadorian and Guatemalan friends. And so they taught me so much. So I could see and I could feel I was acquiring the language. I could just feel like I was acquiring the language. Every day they asked me questions. They told me about their stories. They told me about how they uh, emigrated to the United States, their families in Mexico, El Salvador, etc. So it was a really powerful experience because I was just listening. I listened, and they told me all about their stories in Spanish. And they would give me little commands in Spanish too. Go there, cut this, say that, sit down, stand up. So it was almost like I was a baby. I felt like I was a baby acquiring Spanish. So, even though I was taking Spanish in high school, it was nothing compared to what I was acquiring at work. So, and then in 1 year, I was fluent in Spanish. In 1 year, I was fluent in Spanish. And in 2 years, it was almost perfectly fluent, or I would say a very high level of fluency after 2 years. So after 1 year, I was like, whoa, I was amazed at how much Spanish I could speak. And a lot of the words, I would say most of the words, I didn't even know how to write. I had no idea how to write the words because I had acquired the language. And so when I teach Spanish now, and I see people memorize words and memorize reading and writing, I don't like it because people today spend way too much time reading and writing and not enough time listening like babies. So they need to go back to becoming babies and listen a lot more. So that's my story. That's how I learned Spanish. Excuse me. That's how I acquired Spanish. Subscribe to BNS Koku Great.